and welcome back to IQ D&D, the Ramshackle Adventures. I am James Webster, your cruel and vicious dungeon master. With me today are David Wilkinson.
Hello.
Craig Hallam. Sara-Jayne Slack.
Hi, folks.
And Hugo Jackson.
Hello.
We rejoin our heroes / anti-heroes / protagonists / these assholes as in a strange place because they are all recently asleep, having been victim to a sleep spell that rolled incredibly well and thus got everyone. So you should all be able to now see a new screen on Roll20.
Love it.
It's just the very simple dream time for you folks. So I'm going to roll a d4, and that will decide which of you we cut to first. That's a 3. So fun times, because this is the one where I have to do the most work. Great. Thanks, D4. We're going to cut to Wendy. Now, a fun fact about Wendy. Wendy is a Kalashtar, which is a race from the Eberron system, where it is human people who have kind of merged with spirits. In Wendy's case, this represents the fact that once upon a time, Wendy was a regular human little girl, but was stolen away from her childhood home by a figure that, for copyright reasons, we all just call the Wild Boy, a strange demi-god-like figure who has never aged and lives in a dreamlike place, other plane, with a collection of people that they have lured away from their uncaring parents. In this case, the thing is, the Wild Boy isn't the most conscientious of people. So when they are leading you away into this other realm, flying, using the stars to guide them, they kind of left Wendy behind, and Wendy got lost out in the multiverse and had to learn to fend for herself, and thus became a pirate, and thus Captain Wendy. Because of this, there have been ramifications for what kind of person, just metaphysically, that Wendy is. And there is an element of the spirit to their personhood, which means that, as a Kalashtar, Wendy doesn't dream. When Wendy sleeps, Wendy experiences memories attached to the spirit place that removed her from her original life. So Wendy dreams of the Wild Boy's actual life. So of a life that Wendy never got to live as well, which is an extra kick in the teeth.
I always wake up grumpy. Now I know why.
What a surprise.
So I think, as is most appropriate, we're going to, when Wendy kind of comes to in this not quite dream, you are on the deck of a pirate ship in a picturesque kind of lagoon, various wild forests around it, and on the deck of the ship, a group of ragamuffin children are fighting with a crew of pirates. And Wendy is going hook and cutlass to short sword with the Wild Boy, who is kind of just like posing on the deck, very impish, like wearing tights and a kind of a tunic made of leaves, posing like a fencer with his short sword, going, "You'll never win this time, Captain Wendy. We will repel you from the shores of our home." And Wendy, what I want you to do first of all is make a wisdom saving throw. You make these at advantage because you're a Kalashtar.
Okie dokie.
So roll 2 d20, add your wisdom saving throw modifier, and give me the highest result.
Okay, here we
Come
go.
on, you got this.
So Yeah, I'm not going to use that second one. So overall, that would be 20.
Very good. So you are immediately aware that you are dreaming,
Okay.
that you are asleep. This roll determines that you are in a waking, lucid kind of sleep state.
Cool.
And now roll me a perception check.
Okay. 12.
Okay, you don't notice anything. Your focus is solely on the wild boy in front of
You
you.
never notices anything.
And what? Paladins, man.
She's a very focused person, okay?
So what does Captain Wendy do with this horrid little boy on her ship?
Can I kick him into the water?
You can definitely try to do that. Roll me an athletics check. The wild boy will oppose with his acrobatics, which is quite high.
Okie dokie. So 19 plus 3.
Alas, he rolled a 15 plus 8, beating you by 1.
Wow.
Got it.
So it's a great kick. Yeah, you kind of plant him squarely in the chest, and he tumbles off over the railing of the ship, but kind of catches it with one hand, does a little handspring, kind of back on, and lands nimbly, balancing on the railing.
God, I hate this kid already.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of give him a look.
Yep. And the boy kind of like prances up and down the railing a little bit as the fight goes on. In the background behind you, pirates are being pushed around by various little flying children. Kind of pistols are going off, not really hitting. One of the cannons just gone overboard, and the boy says to you, "Oh, Wendy, why did you have to go and grow up? We could have had such fun, you and me."
Why did I have to? You left me.
Hey, it's not my fault you couldn't keep up. And the boy kind of jumps through the air, lunges at you. Hits. And I'm not going to ask you to keep track of the damage in the dream necessarily, but it definitely kind of scores a hit across your shoulder through your armor, and blood starts seeping out.
Can I ask which arm this is? Is this hook? And do I have a hook rather than a grappling hook?
Yeah, you have a regular pirate hook.
Okay, cool.
And it's your cutlass arm, because that's the one that would have been forward.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And the boy just laughs at this like it's all some game.
I'm quite shocked that he's actually drawn blood, because I think previously it would have been more kind of rough and tumble. No one's been murdered. You know, kicking them off the boat, threatening with the crocodiles, that sort of thing, rather than actually skewering each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of shocked me a little bit, I think.
Cool. And how does Wendy react in this to this shock?
So is he actually on the deck now rather than on the side?
Yeah, kind of leapt off the railing and is now on the deck facing you.
Okay, and he's got just a regular sword, and that's it?
Yeah, kind of like a short sword, kind of more like a long dagger, really.
Okay. Could I try to chop off the wrist that is holding the dagger? Since I know it's a dream anyway, I can be slightly petty and do unto others as they have done to me.
Yeah, absolutely, you can do this. And I'm going to say, because you know it's a dream and you have some kind of like control over this dreamscape, I'm going to say roll with advantage on this.
Okay, cool. Whew. Right, so that is a 12 and that is a 17.
Yeah, that will definitely hit. So I'm going to say, yeah. What happens here? Brilliant. So I think we see the cutlass going through the air, and we kind of cut away as it hits, and we kind of cut to the hand hitting the deck. And the wobbly kind of looks down and looks up at you, kind of shocked and wide-eyed, and then kind of lets this sink in and kind of smiles and does a little laugh again and goes, "Oh, this is a new twist to the game."
Yeah, you could say that. Is the sword close enough for me to kick the sword away?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's going over the side.
Brilliant. Because it's not how it should happen, really, though, is it? The Wild Boy says, like, ideally there should have been a crocodile.
Ideally.
You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe we can still make that happen. And the Wild Boy just kind of holds the arm that you've injured out over the side of the boat, and some blood drips into the water, and the water below starts to kind of bubble and roil.
What are you doing?
Well, I figure that if there is, I don't know, a crocodile around, it may just needs an invitation to the party.
Why do we want a crocodile at any sort of party?
Why wouldn't we? It makes things so much more interesting.
You would say that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Boys.
And that's a great line for us to cut away.
Oh no.
So who have we got next? No, that's it. Okay, so let's go to Farrier. What does Farrier dream of?
So I am walking with my dad through Shackle. It's a very bright, sunny, kind of hot day, almost kind of oppressively hot day. But I'm kind of younger than I am right now. I'm probably in my sort of early teens. And down the slope, the way the street slopes down, I see a pond at the end. It's one of my favorite ponds, and there's loads of ducks in there. I'm desperate to go and see the ducks.
Phenomenal. So you're walking hand in hand with your dad. Have you brought any like treats for the ducks? Have you got bread with you or something?
Whenever we go walking, I always have a bunch of seeds and rice and stuff like that for them stuffed into my pocket. Much to the ire of my dad, is like, we have, and you can't really be talked out of that stuff at this age. So I'm determined, and I kind of start trying to tear away from him a little bit and pointing at the ducks.
Absolutely. So yeah, you run ahead towards the pond, getting out the kind of little paper bag of seeds and crumbs you brought for the ducks that you kind of hid in a pocket, but so that your dad wouldn't take them away from you. As you get to the pond, again, roll me a wisdom saving throw.
That's a 4.
Ducks don't normally have teeth.
Yeah, you are deep in the dream in this with this sense of like childhood excitement and wonder that you're going to go feed the ducks. You're completely unaware that you're dreaming. So you get to the pond. The ducks kind of, by now the ducks have kind of learned that when this child appears, that means it's feeding time. So they all kind of crowd to the edge of the pond. Is there anyone else around? Is this like a busy spot in Shackle, or is this a kind of little out of the way place that is just for you?
It would normally be fairly busy. I'm not aware of anyone else being around. I'm just ducks, and somewhere in the back of my mind is my dad up the slope.
Great. So I think in this dream space there is like a little bustle of activity around the edges of the pond, but it's all kind of like blurred out, because that's the bits that the dream doesn't really have to fill in the blanks because you're not paying attention to it. So all these kind of blurry people with kind of blurred out faces. There's just a generic kind of sound of activity and sense of movement. And you get to the pond. The ducks, real happy to see you, kind of quack appreciatively.
I am elated at the sound of the ducks.
Amazing. So yeah, and you start to feed the ducks, and it's a real nice time. What would usually happen as the ducks are fed? How would this like just nice kind of idyllic day unfold?
Well, ideally for me, I would just spend all day just playing around there while my dad did whatever he needed to do. Sometimes I'm never sure where he's going. It's just Duck's Pond. There we go. But sometimes he would need to tear me away and take me to where we were actually supposed to be going, as opposed to down here.
Brilliant. So something weird happens as you're feeding the ducks. They're real hungry. They're kind of eating up the seeds, and they kind of start crowding around you. Maybe a little. At first, it's really exciting, and you're just happy with your duck friends. But then they're maybe getting a little too close, and there's this slight sense of claustrophobia in this stream. And as they're kind of snapping their bills to get the seeds, the snaps get a little more violent. And one of them kind of nips at the edges of your finger, and it goes, oh, that hurts. That's weird. Things don't usually hurt in this dream.
I don't like that.
Is this the start of Faria's anatodophobia?
I hope not.
But I'm not saying that I'm projecting my fear and hatred of ducks onto other people.
Oh
but
no.
Here we are. And as you look down them as well, these ducks are a little bigger than you remember.
And
How does Faria react to this?
kind of maybe wants to sort of empty out the bag and throw it away a little further away, try and distract them.
And as you do this, the ducks kind of fall on the bag, and they're kind of just tearing at it, just all tumbling over each other to get at it and fighting for these seeds. And you notice around you as well this kind of vague, blurry bustle of activity is also getting more panicked as more ducks are emerging from the pond. More ducks than this pond should be able to hold, and a kind of menacing this vague sense of people around the edge. And you look round to see that behind you a group of even larger ducks, and now some of them are weirdly scaly. They've got these bright kind of beady red eyes. One of them has fangs in its beak, and that doesn't make any sense. And they're kind of surrounding your father. That's amazing.
Okay.
And kind of almost like chivying him away from you. And often behind them, the kind of background of Shackle has kind of faded away, and it's almost this kind of embroiled battleground behind them. And you kind of look and see your father once was being menaced by these ducks. There's a pond full of now horrid creatures, kind of this kind of almost whirlpool of motion. And behind you, there is a safe path back towards your home in Shackle. That's just completely unperturbed by what's going on here. That's what would Faria do in this dream?
I want to go to my dad. I want to try and get him away. I want him to be safe. I want us both to leave, to go that way. I'm trying to like point up there, but I don't want to go without him.
Amazing. So as you get towards your dad, there's this kind of crowd of ducks blocking the way, and you're kind of trying to force your way past them, kind of shouldering them to one side. And as you're getting towards your dad, the scene's kind of changing, and the ducks are around you are less duck-like. They're more monstrous. Some of them as well aren't so much ducks or monsters. They see the feathers are kind of becoming shiny, like almost like armor, and there are all these kind of humanoid figures now as well that you're pushing through as the scene becomes less Shackle and more battleground. And you see in this battleground there are some of these duck-like monsters around these other human soldiers that your dad is still just stuck in the middle of. And then far in the distance as well, you see this a small kind of ragtag group of people that are kind of out bearing markings on their armor on this one kind of flag overhead, marking them as being from Ramshackle and part of like the loose city-state alliance there. And one of them looks very familiar. How long's it been since Faria has seen her mother?
Probably about 5-6 years, maybe.
Yeah, so she's much like you remember, but armored, and there are some extra scars. And this it's kind of like this dreamlike imagining of what Farah's mother might look like and what her life might be like as she's off fighting. And you're kind of barreling your way through this battleground because you're quite small. They're not really noticing you, and you're getting closer to your father, but you can see your mother off in the distance.
I wonder if I can call to her for help to come back.
Absolutely. I'm going to say, make me a spellcasting attack roll.
Okay. 22.
Amazing. So your voice kind of raises in volume far louder than it should be able to be, and just almost like a passage through the kind of mill of people opens up as you shout, opening up between you and your mother. And yeah, you could get. She starts moving towards you, and you could try and get to her if you wanted.
Yes, I will. Yeah, I'll go.
Cool. So you start running through this kind of like corridor in this maelstrom of battle. So they're still shouting in the clang of metal on metal around you. Still some nightmarish quacks here and there, and just much deeper, more feral sounding. And as much as you run, as much as your mother runs towards you, you can never quite seem to meet each other. It's that kind of dreamlike sense of distance where no matter how much you move, that it kind of expands so that you're never quite getting closer to each other. And we're going to jump back to someone else.
Yeah. We'll call that Quacks of the Titans.
Or if we're going anime, a Quack on Titan.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Hugo, how did you not get that one?
Damn.
Yeah.